So today we will discuss male pelvic viscera. So in this we discuss the competency, that is describe, demonstrate important peritoneal relations, blood supply of male pelvic viscera. So we start with the prostate. The base of the prostate is at the bladder neck and its apex at the urogenital diaphragm. Denon Wheeler's fascia separates prostate from seminal vesicles from rectum posteriorly. In the 20th century, several investigators maintained that the prostate gland was composed of diverse lobes. McNeil and zone concept. This concept became popular even though no distinct lobes are seen in the human. McNeil established the current and most widely accepted concept of various zones rather than lobes of the prostate. Zones of the prostate. Peripheral zone comprises all the prostatic glandular tissue at the apex as well as all the tissue located posteriorly. In this zone, carcinoma is more common. Central zone. It is a cone-shaped area of adult gland with its apex of the cone at the confluence of ejaculatory ducts and prostatic urethra at the verumontanum. Transition zone. It consists of two equal portions of glandular tissue lateral to urethra in the midgland. This portion of the prostate is involved in the development of age-related benign prostatic hyperplasia. Anterior fibromuscular stroma. Anterior fibromuscular stroma forms the convexity of the anterior external surface. The apical half of this area is rich in striated muscle, which blend into the gland and the muscle of the pelvic diaphragm. Towards the base, smooth muscle cells become predominant, blending into the fibers of the bladder. Anterior fibromuscular stroma. The distal portion of the anterior fibromuscular stroma is important in the voluntary sphincter functions. The proximal portions play a central role in the involuntary sphincter functions. Histological architecture. The histological architecture is that of branched duct gland. It is lined by two cell layers, a luminal secretory columnar cell layer and an underlying basal cell layer. The lumens of the normal prostatic glands and ducts frequently contain multilaminated eosinophilic concretions termed corpora amylacea that become more common in the older men. Prostatic capsule. The capsule is composed of fibrous tissue surrounding the gland. The capsule is best appreciated posteriorly and posterolaterally as a layer more fibrous than muscular between the prostatic stroma and the extraprostatic fat. Seminal vesicles. Seminal vesicles are located superior to the base of the prostate. They undergo confluence with the vas deferens on each side to form ejaculatory ducts. Ejaculatory duct complex consists of two ejaculatory ducts. The utricle is located between the ejaculatory ducts. Nerve supply. Two neurovascular bundles are located posterolaterally adjacent to the gland and form superior and inferior pedicles on each side. These nerves are important in regulating physiology, morphology, and growth maturation of the gland. Prostate receives both sympathetic and parasympathetic innervation. Former from the hypogastric and pelvic nerves, and latter from the peripheral hypogastric ganglion. Walsh and Donker demonstrated the importance of the nerves in the penile erection. Urologists as well as patients have put an increasing interest in the nerve-sparing surgical treatment of prostatic cancer. Then another competency, that is lobes involved in the prostatic hypertrophy and prostatic cancer. To understand how the anatomic changes of the benign prostatic hypertrophy influence voiding function, we must consider that the prostate is not only a glandular gland but also a very muscular organ. Two major tissues undergo hyperplasia in the prostate. Hyperplasia occurs in glandular, that is epithelial, and stromal tissues, the latter including the muscular fibers. Stromal hyperplasia dominates. Massive disproportionate epithelial hyperplasia results in marked enlargement of the glandular tissues of the prostate, increasing the bulk and the producing potential obstruction by compressive mechanical narrowing of bladder neck and urethra, referred to as static effect. Dynamic effect. Obstruction caused by hyperplasia or increased tone of the muscular stroma is termed dynamic mechanism of obstruction of the BPH. Frequently, a component of both mechanisms operate to produce obstructive symptoms and signs. The process of BPH. The earliest microscopic signs of benign prostatic hypertrophy begin in the periurethral glands, posterior to the proximal urethra. In the fourth decade, micronodular growth soon begins to predominate in the transitional zone. Progressive transitional hyperplasia produces a growth in the number of nodules anterolateral to the urethra. These tiny nodules grow in size, coalesce into ever larger nodules. Because the glands of the transitional zone are distributed between urethral smooth muscle fibers, they become encased in the stroma, and with macroscopic growth stretch these muscle bundles around the nests of the hyperplastic glands. As the coalescent glandular tissue expands, the surrounding stroma becomes compressed, producing a distinct demarcation, at which stage the bilateral hyperplastic transition zone tissues can be accurately called lateral lobes. If there is continued growth of the preurethral glands, the resulting well demarcated expanding midline retrourethral tissue is referred to as median lobe. This growth occurs in a potential retrourethral inverted pyramidal space between urethra and the central zone, with its apex immediately above the level of verumontanum and its base behind the bladder neck. As the growth of the periurethral glandular zone continues, it meets resistance below by the convergence of the surrounding tissues at the verumontanum, resulting in a growth vector in the upward direction along with a course of least resistance towards the area behind the bladder neck. BPH predominates in the inner gland, that is transverse zone, and periurethral glandular zone, and it involves peripheral zone, and it also involves peripheral zone. Lobes involved in the prostatic cancer. Prostatic cancer remains the most common malignancy affecting the men. Adenocarcinoma accounts for about 95% of the prostatic neoplasms. Prostatic carcinoma is clinically silent. In prostatectomies, prostatic carcinoma tends to be multifocal, mainly found in the peripheral zone, followed by transition and then central zone. At one time, the predominant thought was that the prostatic carcinoma arose nearly exclusively in the posterior part of the prostate, now known as the peripheral zone, close to the prostatic capsule. However, later studies confirmed that in prostates removed for prostatic carcinoma, a significant minority of prostatic carcinoma foci arise in the transition zone and central zone. The periurethral portion of the prostate has been considered to be resistant to the development of prostatic carcinoma. Thank you.